Hello, 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 and welcome to Redefining the Significance of You Time for You, by you, because of you. My name is Denise Drinkwalter, and I am a midlife renewal coach supporting women worldwide to lean into and realize the importance of you. This channel aims to provide you, the viewer, with some takeaways that will help you shift, change, reevaluate, and or become more aware of what is possible. We have a variety of incredible guests sharing the life experiences that have helped them become the incredible human beings that they are today. Every one of us has had that infamous free time where sometime in our lives we have felt guilty, embarrassed, maybe even wrong for taking out time for ourselves. We are here to change that and support you to see what is possible for you when you take the time for you, by you, because of you. It is an absolute pleasure to welcome and introduce Tom Ingengo to the show today. With nearly 24 years of experience, Tom is a seasoned expert in Oriental medicine, holding a Master of Science and a doctorate in acupuncture and Chinese medicine. His journey in this field began in 1988, and since then, he's made an indelible impact, not only through his clinic, which he sees over 6,500 appointments annually, but also as an author, a lecturer, and a respected educator. Tom's expertise extends beyond his practice. He has taught at two prominent acupuncture colleges, authored two books, and held esteemed roles, including chair of the Maryland Board of Acupuncture and vice president of external affairs for the Maryland Acupuncture Society. His work addresses a wide range of complex issues, helping clients with everything from physical pain and neurological conditions to infertility, women's health, and chronic autoimmune disorders. Tom's deep commitment to the field and his comprehensive approach have transformed countless lives. And we are absolutely thrilled to have him here today to share insights and his expertise. What a pleasure to have you tonight. Thank you for taking the time.
Oh, Denise, I'm so excited to be here. I will say, when I filled out the form, I might have made one little typo. 1998 is when I started my acupuncture training, not 88. I'll gladly take another decade. But I don't want to, like, somebody's gonna be like, no, that math doesn't work. Come at me. And I'm like, no, I probably made a typo.
That is so cute because I saw your eyes go 80 as soon as I said it. So I'm glad you
I was going, wait, was I 11? Was I?
Genius.
I started young. I'm a prodigy.
Oh, I love it. Hey, welcome to the live show where whatever happens is going to happen. So no problem.
I love that. I love that. There's a little bit of unpredictability. There's a little bit of novelty, right? You don't get that when you pre-record it and you hit, hang on, let me do that again. You know.
And that's why I'm so grateful for guests like yourself who were like, I'm good with live. We're going to do what we're going to do. We're going to talk about the importance of looking after ourselves, for ourselves, by ourselves, because of ourselves. You clearly are into ensuring that people, all the people that you support, not only through your clinic, but through the books and through the extra supports you give. This is your life's mission, is to make sure people live healthy lives and take the ownership to do that and learn through your work and through your hands-on approaches. What is the biggest thing that you think is critical for our listeners to understand about the importance of themselves in their journey?
Yeah, I think it's really important where we kind of have this notion that if I take time off or if I do something for myself, that I'm being selfish, right? And we hear it, right? Every time we get on a plane, please put your oxygen mask on before you put on your child's or others. And what's the expression? You can't drink from an empty cup, right? So too often, especially for those people that are caregivers, especially those people that just they really are sensitive and they are taking care of a lot. They've got a lot on their plate, and they're the last, right? They feel guilty
Mhm.
saying no to somebody. They feel guilty saying, I can't do that right now. And all that does is, burn you out even more. So, I think a lot of the services that we have at our office, right? Some people see them as luxuries or pampering. And it's like, no,
Mhm.
I'm trying to keep you healthy and running, especially during times that are stressful. That's when we tend to fall apart. That's when we tend to let our exercise go, or our diet go, or meditation go. And that's really when we're supposed to lean into it. Now, I'm guilty of that too. I'm not saying I'm better than anyone, but that's really where we need that to keep our root and our foundation strong and, refill our own cup.
So, in what ways would be a really good tool or strategy that you can think of that that you give your clients or you have authored in the book
Yeah.
that allow us to flip that thinking? Because we're moving into the busier season,
Yeah. Yeah.
and your timing is perfect having this conversation with us today. Is there anything that's coming up for you where you can say, okay?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and you asked me this question, and like 30 ideas run into my head because, the act of doing something consistently, right? This word consistent is the big key here, right? So, I'm a huge meditator. I'm coming up on 6 years of not missing a single day. I joke
Mm,
that I've been trying to meditate since 1994. And there were times when it's like, oh, good, I did a week. And then, well, look, I'm going to go out with the friends. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Next thing you know, it's 6 months and you haven't meditated.
mm,
So now that it's stuck, now that it's become a consistent habit, it, not all of them are great. Not all of them are 20 minutes long even. Some of them are like, look, I sat there for 3 minutes, but I've got this thing stuck in my head, but at least I was here for 3 minutes. So
mm.
giving yourself that space, carving that out in the day and planning for it. It's like, I like to be free form. I'm so glad this camera angle is cut in so close because you'd see stuff everywhere, right? Why? Well, I got that there because I got to remind myself to do this. But like, when I meditate, I come to this spot, I sit down, I start my timer, and sometimes I'm done before the timer is, but I've sat down and I've done that consistently, right? And I plan for that in the day. And I think that's a key component, right? Like, well, when do I take care of myself? God, I've got kids, and my wife is at PT with one of them now, and the other one just got back from wrestling, and oh, how the hell are we juggling this? Well, I plan this. So, planning is a key component to taking care of yourself.
Mhm. Absolutely. Do, just a question around that. Did you go through and do you still go through moments where you think, you know what? Somebody else needs me right now. I have to put that on the back burner.
I've played with the timing of my meditation
Hmm.
where like I used to get up at 5:30 in the morning because like that's what they tell us the overachievers all do. And I was like, look, that's not me, but I go and I drop off my kids in the morning, and being self-employed, I have this joy where I can actually do that most mornings.
Yeah.
I come home, I sit down, I meditate. My wife knows that, like, hey, he's out for the next 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever it is. And then, if I can, I come up and join her and spend some time with my wife before I go to work.
Yeah.
Or I hop on calls like this, or start writing something, or yeah, whatever it is, I've built that 20-minute period into the day, regardless of what's around it. And to tell you the truth, I know, believe me, I look at my phone way too much, but I know nothing in the next 20 minutes is really going to be that important. And to
Yeah.
tell you the truth, if it starts ringing off the hook, something's on fire, and then, okay, we'll break it, but I've already sat down. So I've already started the practice.
Right. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you for sharing that, because what I do find, exactly what you said earlier, was that guilt that, well, everybody else, and I, I got, just like you
Yeah.
said, I have to take my kid there, and I have to do this, and I've got all these things. And if I don't do those, everybody's relying on me. And we
Yeah.
put ourselves in that, it's my duty. And I also talk to my clients a lot about, is it your duty, or is there something you can give back that doesn't have to fall on your shoulders and allows them to step up and feel like they're a part of whatever it is that needs to get done, right?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah. And that's real important. I think even tonight I mentioned one of my kids is at PT. I came home and my 14-year-old daughter is like manning dinner. I'm like, what? Wow. Mom kind of set you up to do that? Yeah. Oh, what? Just that little bit. Doesn't that free up? It's not a big lift. My wife already prepped everything. She was taking stuff
Of
out of
course.
the oven, she was just going, okay, let's throw this in that bowl, but it was just taking that little edge off that gave my wife the space to take the other one to
Yeah,
physical therapy. Yeah.
exactly. The other thing, and I don't know whether you've noticed this in your family unit, but I noticed this in ours.
Hmm.
When I take time out and do things for me, by me, because of me, others are watching without me even realizing what's going on. And the seed is being planted that you are as important as everybody else in this system. So looking after your own self, you mentioned
Hmm.
it's not selfish. And I run into that all the time. Oh, but it's that's selfish. People will tell me that's selfish. And I said, well, actually, it sounds that way, but it's counterintuitive, because we've been built upon the system of
Yeah.
looking after, right? Caregiving 101.
Well, and my mentor used to say this, like when something's going wrong, at first you get like a little knock on, like tap on the shoulder, right? Oh, hey, I feel myself getting stressed. I feel myself getting worked out. All right, I'm going to push through. Sometimes you might have to. But then it's like it's not a little tap on the shoulder, it's like a slap, and then eventually you're going to get a bat across the back of the head. So and then you're no good to anybody.
Right,
You
exactly.
know?
Exactly. And then everything falls apart. And then it just builds even bigger, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, you can even use the analogy of a car, right? You don't get mad at the car because it has to get gas, or you're like, oh, I had to get new tires. Well, it's a pain in the butt. It takes time, but
Yeah.
do I
Yeah.
still want to have a working car?
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me about traditional medicine,
Yeah.
and why is a good time to look at this now with a fresh eye?
Yeah, yeah. I think this is something that has slowly become a bigger, I've been doing East Asian medicine for 23 years now. But one thing I've noticed is I think the research is becoming more apparent, right? We have in the Cochrane database, I think we have over 32,000 systematic reviews on acupuncture alone, right? We have tons on Chinese herbal medicine. And we're starting to see with a fresh eye that the technology for the research is catching up with these traditional principles. But it's not just happening in East Asian medicine. Cupping is kind of like it got assimilated into Chinese medicine, but it's not even Chinese in origin. And we're starting to see studies that come out and say these things actually, we threw the baby out with the bathwater, if you will. Oh, this was new agey. Oh, it's old. It can't be good. And not in this return to classics way per se, but well, we know that these things are being used. Last October for Walter Reed's hospital systems, I gave a lecture, a little cheeky. I called it spooky treatments because it was October and it was around Halloween. And we talked about things that had a traditional root that are being used modern in clinic, right? And here I am, I'm literally trying to like weird out the doctors from the military, And they're loving it. They go, oh yeah, we use maggots. Oh yeah, we still use leeches. Oh yeah. Oh, that fecal transplant, that's good stuff. And it's like, you were calling this pseudoscience 20, 30
Ah,
years ago. And back, 700 AD, we were writing about fecal transplants to keep people alive because we didn't have antibiotics. And if you had diarrhea, you were probably dying.
right.
So it was something gross. And now we do it in a much more laboratory controlled kind of way. But the study that I showed them referenced the old Chinese practitioner that did it. And it's like, look, this is everywhere. This comes from all the cultures. We can learn from our past history. The Ebers Papyrus in ancient Egypt, 1515 BC, describes reattaching a nose almost identically the way that we do today. They knew enough that they graft the skin off the forehead, but they can't cut the entire skin off because they need the vasculature to keep that tissue alive. So these are not primitive people. They had the same brains we had. They also weren't distracted like we were. So they had more time to focus on these problems. Mm-hmm. And now we can go back and go, wow, these guys knew so much. Why? Because they were us. It's not like, oh, they were, hitting a stick against a rock and hoping for something. They were sitting there figuring out problems in the same way that we do now. So now more than ever, we also realize that like my twice a year checkups, if I'm lucky, are not giving a complete picture of my health. And it's what I do every day that either leads me towards robust health or disease. And that's managing stress. That's our diet. That's how we move our bodies. That's how we relax. That's how we recover. That's how we pour back into our cup. So we're starting to see this resurgence of all that. And a lot of these things were folk medicine, meaning they were done in the homes.
Right.
So what can we put back in the homes? Not fecal transplants. Don't do that. But let me back it up a little. The book I wrote was about cupping and how to do it safely at home. But there's a lot of things like that we can put back into the hands of the families, teach that family, and then they can take care of themselves and friends and hopefully live longer, happier lives.
Right. And what a gift. What a gift to be able to look after yourself in a way that you never thought was possible. And you're saying there are techniques and strategies that are absolutely doable in the home.
Absolutely. And I think at one point, and I don't think this is like, I'm not some big conspiracy against Western medicine. Yes, there's big flaws. No one's arguing that. I treat MDs all day. They will crap on the medical system left and right. They all see the holes. But there's so many things we can do before we get to that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So it's not the person in the white lab coat that is like scolding you and telling you to get on a treadmill and lose 10 pounds. Yeah. It's those choices you're making day to day. And you don't always have to be perfect, right? Live a little, but be mindful of where you're at and do some things that are for you in your own home that'll help you get there. And it doesn't matter. Buy one of those shiatsu massagers and lay on it every night. Just do something, Yeah.
I love that. I mean, and I really like what you're saying because you have the power to take the opportunity to learn and do what makes sense for you. You shared, 20 minutes. That is what I have figured out works exactly perfectly for me right now. And it's consistent. Consistency is the key. And yes, you can change it. Yes, you can add to it. Yes, you can take away. You don't know what you don't know until you start practicing or looking into what it is that you might want to give back to for you, by you, because of you. I talk about simple things too, about being out in nature. Like, we can't go wrong when we tune in to the gift that is existing all around us,
Yeah. And it's kind of, I'm glad you mentioned nature. We offer so many services at our office, and I say it kind of like tongue in cheek, but if people were outside more, They would get hot. They would get cold. They would get exposed to the right amount of light. And I'm like, you just knocked out like 4 of my services right there.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know, like, hey, come on in. I'll run you through it. We'll charge you. But like, you know, if you got outside every once in a while, you'd be much healthier. We're still people look down at this when we say like we're still primates. We're still animals.
Yeah.
We still exist on Earth. And that's what gave us life in the first place. And when we separate ourselves from that, that's when we start seeing all the weird chronic diseases and illness.
Right? Yeah, I'm sure. Like, and in the end, if you start to begin whatever journey you want to take, whatever avenue you want to explore, but don't just let it sit here. Oh, I should do this, or I'm thinking about this. Just start. And it doesn't have to be 20 hours a week. It has to be something consistent. I talk a lot about just what you were saying. I have a cup of coffee and I'm sitting down. I have my water. I have my juice, whatever. I'm going to sit down and not going to look at my phone, not going to look at the computer. I'm turning all outside sound off. Maybe I need meditation music, whatever.
Yeah.
It's going to be in my own space for a minute. And in the beginning, it's a practice. It doesn't, I know me, my mind's everywhere. Like, well, I can't do this. Well, I could give up, sure, but that doesn't serve me either.
No. And even like I'll even say it, even with writing this book, you know, it was let me dedicate 15 minutes to it. 15 minutes. That's it, right? I mean, how much am I going to write in 15 minutes? Well, started with 15 minutes. I budgeted it right after my meditation. Next thing I know, well, you know, I can write a little more. I got the time, you know, so yes, I said 15, but now I'm writing an hour. Now I've done with the manuscript. Okay, let me go back and add 15 minutes of editing. Let me look for photos for this for 15 minutes. And next thing you know, you've been sitting there for a couple of hours, and some days you only have 15 minutes, but you've built it in, you're doing it.
Yeah. So a couple of things that I'm hearing pretty loud and clear is schedule.
Yeah.
If you cannot commit to it without a schedule is key for the consistency piece. Give yourself breaks in terms of I didn't do as well as I thought. So what? Tomorrow's another day, right?
Well, you know, and I think that's something I talk about when I'm teaching meditation or you know, this be gentle with yourself, right? Where oftentimes, and especially the people that are really like the caring ones, the ones that are like out there for other people, right? You know, somebody else could do something horrible and they'll give them a pass. But like, you know, you drop the ball, or like maybe I didn't need to eat that Snickers or something like that. And you're like wailing on yourself, and it believe me, I've done it my whole life. I've been a work in progress with that too. But the more gentle I am with myself, well, you know what? That wasn't the best choice for me, but I'm still here. I got another crack at it. You know, I didn't do something that's hurting me so bad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's a learning opportunity.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you take the approach, from my opinion, if you take the approach that I'm learning more about myself and the value that I need to explore, not only for me, but for those in what I call their sphere of influence. So I talk about the people who are closest to me. And you notice when you're in a room, what your energy is and how people are bouncing off your energy, depending on what's going on. You know, we look after our 2-year-old granddaughter, and there are days I'm like, oh, sweetie.
Yeah. This is a rough one.
I feel you, honey. Yeah. But it has been such a pleasure having a conversation with you. Your insights, your honest and original, here's how I do it, and I've fallen and I get back up, and this is how it works for me. Because people need to understand that we are humans. Yes, we have ideas. Yes, we've done a lot of work. Yes, we have a lot of learning behind us, but we are also humans, and here's how it works for us. So thank you for your time, your energy, your expertise. And we have put in the show notes all of the information on people, how to get a hold of you or find you. You're a busy person. I am so grateful to have your time with us here tonight. Is there anything you want to leave our listeners with tonight before we depart?
Look, I'll mention this. I know you have stuff in the show notes, so it's no big deal. But I do have a course on Udemy. It's a free meditation course. If I can give somebody some kind of tip that has had such a positive impact in my life, it's meditating. It doesn't have to cost anything. It doesn't have to be complicated. I threw that out there when I was twiddling my thumbs during COVID. As like, what can I give back? So it's not long. It's a few hours.
Thank you. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. We appreciate that so much. Well, thank you everyone for joining us tonight on Redefining the Significance of You Time, for you, by you, because of you. And as Dr. Tom was talking about, organizing, this little organizer is available on Amazon. It is a guided journal to empower women to stay on track and understand who they are. And it's good to put yourself first. In your book, in this book, will help you reframe your thinking to show you the valued person that you need to give back to. So thank you again for joining us tonight. It has been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much. I love this. Thank you, Denise.
Thank you.